You've probably experienced this before. You walk into a supermarket, grab a shopping cart, and within seconds, something feels wrong. The cart refuses to go straight. It drifts left, then right, squeaks loudly, and suddenly you're fighting it like you're steering a broken vehicle. And here's the strange part. This happens everywhere. Different stores, different countries, different carts, yet somehow they all seem just a little hard to control. So the question is, why? Are shopping carts just poorly made? Are stores neglecting maintenance? Or is there something deeper going on with the way they're designed? The answer turns out to involve physics, engineering, and a surprising piece of retail history that began almost a century ago. The story starts in 1937 in Oklahoma City. A grocery store owner named Sylvan Goldman had a problem. His supermarket shelves were full, but customers weren't buying as much as he expected. After watching people shop, Goldman realized something simple but important. Shoppers stopped buying items once their hands and baskets were full. So Goldman invented something new, a metal frame that held two wire baskets and rolled on wheels. It was the first shopping cart. But when Goldman introduced it in his store, something unexpected happened. Nobody wanted to use it. Men complained it made them feel weak. Women said it reminded them too much of pushing baby strollers. The carts sat unused while customers continued carrying baskets by hand. Goldman panicked. His big invention was failing, so he tried something clever. He hired actors to walk around the store pushing the carts while pretending to shop normally. When customers saw other people using them, they slowly began to follow. Within months, shopping carts became a permanent part of supermarkets and eventually spread across the entire world. But those early carts had a huge design problem. They were extremely difficult to steer. At first, carts had 4 fixed wheels, which meant they could only move forward and backward. Turning them required lifting or dragging the entire cart sideways. Then engineers introduced a better idea: swivel wheels. You've probably noticed this without thinking about it. On most carts, the front wheels spin freely in any direction, allowing the cart to turn easily. But here's the catch. Swivel wheels are also the main reason carts sometimes behave like they have a mind of their own. The reason comes down to something called caster physics, the same principle used in office chairs and hospital beds. When a wheel can spin freely around a vertical axis, it naturally tries to align itself with the direction of movement. Most of the time, that works perfectly. But when the wheels are slightly misaligned, even by a tiny amount, they can start fighting each other. One wheel wants to roll one direction, another wheel wants another direction, and suddenly the cart begins pulling sideways. That's why your cart sometimes veers off even when you're pushing it straight. But physics is only part of the story. There's another reason carts become harder to steer over time: wear and tear. Shopping carts travel enormous distances every day. Studies estimate that a typical grocery cart rolls several miles per week across parking lots, sidewalks, and store floors. Those surfaces aren't smooth. Wheels hit cracks, gravel, curbs, and sometimes even get dragged across asphalt. Over time, the tiny swivel mechanisms inside the wheels start to loosen or wear unevenly. When that happens, the wheels stop aligning properly, and suddenly the cart begins wobbling or drifting. But there's a lesser-known theory that adds an interesting twist. Some retail analysts believe carts aren't always designed to roll perfectly straight on purpose. The theory suggests that slightly imperfect carts actually slow shoppers down. When a cart takes more effort to steer, people naturally move through the store more slowly. And slower shoppers tend to notice more products. More products seen often means more products bought. Now, to be clear, there's no hard evidence that supermarkets intentionally sabotage their carts. Most experts agree the real reason is simply cost. Perfectly aligned wheels require frequent maintenance, and replacing thousands of cart wheels can be expensive. Still, the idea has persisted because it makes a strange kind of sense. But there's one more fascinating detail most people never notice. When engineers design shopping carts, they deliberately place the swivel wheels in the front instead of the back. At first glance, that seems obvious, but mechanically, it actually makes carts less stable. So why do it? Because if the swivel wheels were placed in the back, carts would behave like forklifts, extremely hard to control for the average shopper. The front swivel design sacrifices some stability in exchange for easier turning. In other words, shopping carts are intentionally designed to be a little chaotic, because the alternative would be even worse. So the next time your cart pulls sideways down the grocery aisle, it's not just bad luck. You're experiencing the strange intersection of physics, 1930s supermarket innovation, worn-out wheels, and design compromises that engineers have been balancing for nearly a century. A simple metal basket on wheels that changed how the world shops, but never quite learned how to roll perfectly straight. And now, here's something to think about. Next time you grab a cart at the store, pay attention to the very first push. Does it glide smoothly, or immediately drift to one side? Because if it's the second one, you might be witnessing a tiny piece of engineering history still wobbling its way through the grocery aisle. And honestly, have you ever found a perfectly straight shopping cart?